Welcome guys to my YouTube channel Study with Dr. Branik. Today we will discuss chapter respiratory system from the embryology textbook Vishram Singh second edition. So let's begin with our chapter respiratory system. Then topic development of respiratory system. The respiratory system is endodermal in origin. Origin endodermal. It develops from meridian diverticulum of foregut. Develops from meridian diverticulum of foregut called respiratory diverticulum. When embryo is about 4 weeks old, therefore lining epithelium of larynx, trachea, bronchi and lungs is derived from endoderm. The cartilage muscles connective tissue component of the respiratory system developed from splanchnic mesoderm. Cartilage muscles connective tissue components component of respiratory system CMC developed from splanchnic mesoderm. Cartilage muscles connective tissue developed from splanchnic mesoderm surrounding the foregut. Look at the figure. 4-week-old figure, a 4-week-old embryo in figure 16.1. Site of development of respiratory diverticulum as seen in embryo. A denotes the 25-day-old embryo. Note the relationship of diverticulum to stomach. Respiratory diverticulum and stomach. Sagittal section of 5-week-old embryo. Figure B. Sagittal section of 5-week-old embryo showing opening of pharyngeal pouch and laryngotracheal orifice. Opening of pharyngeal pouch and laryngotracheal orifice. Laryngotracheal orifice, opening of pharyngeal pouch. Okay. Larynx. So come to the topic development of respiratory laryngotracheal diverticulum. The respiratory diverticulum develops as an outgrowth from ventral aspect of the cranial part of foregut. Outgrowth from ventral aspect of cranial part of foregut. The diverticulum first seen as a midline groove. Like laryngotracheal groove in the endodermal lining of floor of primitive pharynx, just caudal to hypobronchial eminence. Epiglottal swelling during the 4th week of intrauterine life. The groove is flanked by 6th pharyngeal pouch. The groove deepens to form a longitudinal diverticulum called laryngotracheal diverticulum. The distal part of this diverticulum is separated from esophagus by development of tracheoesophageal septum, whereas its cranial part continues to communicate with the pharynx. That communication with pharynx form laryngeal inlet. The tracheoesophageal septum develops from two lateral folds, tracheoesophageal fold that grow medially and fuse with each other in the midline to form the septum. The laryngotracheal diverticulum grows downward to enter thorax, where it becomes bifid to form two right and left bronchial lung buds. The part of diverticulum proximal to bifurcation forms the larynx and trachea, where the bronchial buds form the bronchi and lung parenchyma. Each lung bud invaginates into pericardio-peritoneal canal. The right and left pericardio-peritoneal canal form the right and left pleural cavity respectively. Development of individual part of the respiratory system. Larynx. Development of larynx. The larynx develops from cranial most part of laryngotracheal diverticulum. The communication between the laryngotracheal diverticulum and primitive pharynx persists as a laryngeal inlet. The mesenchyme of fourth and sixth pharyngeal pouch surrounding the laryngeal orifice proliferate. As a result, the slit like a laryngeal orifice becomes T-shaped. Subsequently, mesenchyme of fourth and sixth pharyngeal arc form thyroid, cricoid, arytenoid cartilage, and laryngeal orifice acquire a characteristic adult shape. The lining epithelium of larynx develops from endoderm of the cranial and of laryngotracheal diverticulum. At first, the endodermal cells proliferate and completely obliterate the lumen of larynx. Later on, the cell obliterate the lumen breakdown and recanalization of larynx takes place. During recanalization, the endodermal cells form two pair of fold. During recanalization, two pair of fold, an upper pair of vestibular fold and lower pair of vocal fold, which extend anterior-posteriorly in the lumen of the larynx and give rise to false and true vocal cord, respectively. A pair of lateral ridges bound by these folds is called laryngeal ventricle. All the cartilage of the larynx, example thyroid, cricoid, arytenoid, cuneiform, except epiglottis, develop from mesenchyme of fourth and sixth pharyngeal arc. Which derive from neural crest cell. The epiglottis develop from the caudal part of hypobranchial eminence. The muscles of the larynx develop from the mesoderm of fourth and sixth. Muscles of the larynx develop from mesoderm of fourth and sixth pharyngeal arc. Therefore, these muscles are supplied by nerve of fourth arc, superior laryngeal nerve of sixth arc, recurrent laryngeal nerve. Anomaly of larynx, laryngeal atresia and stenosis. This rare anomaly of larynx results from failure of recanalization of the larynx. That lead to obstruction of the upper respiratory tract. Due to narrowing of some sites. Most commonly, the atresia and stenosis is seen at the level of vocal cord. Sites mostly at the level of vocal cord. Laryngeal valve. In this anomaly, membranous valve-like tissue is present in the laryngeal lumen. Valve-like tissue present in the laryngeal lumen, usually at the level of vocal cord, which may partially obstruct the airway. This valve-like tissue is derived from endodermal cells that fail to break out during recanalization of larynx. Trachea. The trachea develops from part of laryngotracheal diverticulum, respiratory diverticulum, which lies between the larynx and point of division of the diverticulum into bronchial bud. The endoderm of laryngotracheal diverticulum form the lining epithelium of gland of the trachea. The cartilage, muscles, and connective tissue of the trachea develop from surrounding splanchnopleuric intraembryonic mesoderm surrounding laryngotracheal groove. Trachea is separated from the esophagus by a tracheoesophageal septum. Anomaly of trachea, tracheoesophageal fistula. It is an abnormal communication between trachea and esophagus. This anomaly is often associated with the esophageal atresia. It occurs in 1/300 to 4,500 1 by 300 to 4500. 1 by 3000 by 400 4500 births. The tracheoesophageal fossa occur due to defective development of tracheoesophageal septum. Tracheoesophageal fold fail to fuse with each other in a small segment, producing an abnormal communication between the trachea and esophagus. The tracheoesophageal fistula. The various types of tracheoesophageal fistula. Upper part of esophagus and in blind pouch, and lower part communicate with the trachea. Okay. Upper part of esophagus and in a blind pouch. Upper part and in a blind pouch, and lower part communicate with the trachea. Okay. As a type A, but the tracheoesophageal communication canal is replaced by fibrous cord. Communication replaced by a fibrous cord. Okay. As type A जैसा ही होता है, but tracheoesophageal communication replaced by fibrous cord. Okay. Both upper and lower. Third one, both upper and lower part of the esophagus communicate with the trachea by a common narrow canal. It is called as shaped tracheoesophageal fistula. Fourth one, upper part of esophagus communicate with the trachea and lower part form the blind pouch. Upper part communicate with the esophagus communicate with the trachea and lower and blind pouch. Upper part of esophagus communicate with the trachea and lower and form blind pouch. Both upper and lower part of esophagus communicate with the trachea separately. Both upper and lower part of esophagus communicate with the trachea separately. Okay. When milk or fluid is given to newborn with the tracheoesophageal fossa, it causes coughing, choking, or because of milk fluid enter into the respiratory tract. It may also lead to lung infection, pneumonia. Tracheal stenosis, narrowing of trachea. It is rare and occur due to anterior deviation of tracheoesophageal septum. Tracheal atresia, tracheal obstruction. It occurs due to the presence of web of tissue. Within tracheal lumen. This tissue is derived from proliferation of endodermal cell. Tracheal bronchus and tracheal lobe. Sometimes the trachea presents a diverticulum that may either end blindly or supply a lobe called the tracheal lobe, which is not a normal part of lung. Sometimes it may replace a normal terminal bronchus, namely apical bronchus of upper lobe of lung. So these are the type of tracheoesophageal fistula. This figure showing tracheoesophageal fistula. First is upper part is end blindly. Look at this explanation. Look at figure and explanation both. In figure showing upper end ends blindly. So upper end and blind pouch. Upper end have blind pouch and lower part communicate with the trachea. It is communicating here. See, lower end communicating with the trachea. And come to the P as type of P. Okay, as type, but only here changes. It is same as A type, but changes that it have fibrous cord in place of tracheoesophageal communication canal. It is replaced by fibrous cord. Okay. Now come to the C. The both the upper and lower part of esophagus communicate with the trachea in a common narrow canal. By a common narrow canal. Okay. It is common narrow canal. Okay. And now come to the fourth one. Upper part of esophagus communicate with the trachea and lower end form a blind pouch. Lower end forming the blind pouch and upper part communicate with the trachea by tracheoesophageal fistula. Okay. Now come to the E. Both upper and lower part of the esophagus communicate with the trachea separately. It is separately communicating with the trachea. Okay, these are the points for tracheoesophageal fistula. Now come to the bronchi and lungs. Bronchi. The laryngotracheal respiratory diverticulum divided into two bronchial buds. Each bronchial bud developed into principal bronchus. The laryngotracheal diverticulum divided into two bronchial bud. Divided into two bronchial bud. Respiratory diverticulum, that is laryngotracheal diverticulum, divided into two bronchial bud. Each bronchial bud developed into a principal bronchus. Two primary divisions of the caudal part of the respiratory diverticulum form right and left primary bronchi, principal bronchi. The right principal bronchus is slightly larger. Right one is slightly larger than the left and oriented more in the line with the trachea. The left principal bronchus come to lie more transversely than the right. Left one is more transversely than right. Okay, this embryonic relationship persists in the adult life, and therefore foreign body is more likely to enter into right principal bronchus. The principal bronchi is subdivided into secondary bronchi, which further divide and subdivide to form lower and segmental and intersegmental bronchi respectively. On the right side, the superior lower bronchus supplies superior lower lobe of the lung, whereas the inferior lower bronchus subdivided into two bronchi, one to the middle lobe and other to inferior lobe. Thus, the right principal bronchus give rise to three lower bronchi: upper, middle, lower, which supplies the upper, middle, lower lobe of the right lung. On the left side, the left principal bronchus give rise to two lower bronchi. Upper and lower, that supply the superior and inferior lobe of the left lungs respectively. The lower bronchus undergo progressive branching. Each lower bronchus divides into 10 segmental bronchi for each lung. 10 segmental bronchi for each lung. The segmental bronchi are formed by 7th week of intrauterine. Segmental bronchi formed by 7th week of intrauterine life. Each segmental bronchus, which its surrounding mass of mesenchyme, form a bronchopulmonary segment. Therefore, each lung consists of 10 bronchopulmonary segments. By the end of 6 months, the 17th generation of bronchial subdivision are formed. End of 6th month, 17th generation of bronchial subdivision formed. Before the bronchial tree reaches the final state, about 6 to 7 division form after birth. Thus, division and subdivision of each segmental bronchus form the distal part of the bronchial tree, consisting of bronchial, respiratory, bronchial, alveolar duct, alveoli. The endoderm of respiratory diverticulum and its various subdivisions give rise to lining epithelium of the bronchial tree. All other elements in the wall of the bronchial tree, such as cartilage, smooth muscles, connective tissue, are derived from surrounding splanchnic mesoderm. The splanchnic mesoderm are also form the connective tissue and capillary of the lung. Thus, the parenchyma of lung developed from the bronchial tree derived from further subdivision of the lower bronchi. The lung parenchyma developing from bronchi is separated from each other by mesoderm. The mesoderm also form connective tissue basis of the lung pleura lining of its surface. Because pleura lines the surface of each lobe separately, the lobe becomes separated by the fissure. The bifurcation of trachea at the time of birth lie opposite to T4 vertebra. Now come to the figure 16.7 successive stages in the development of bronchi and lung: at 4 week, at 5 week, at 6 week, at 8 week. 4, 5 week, 6 week, 8 week. At 4 week, trachea and bronchial buds are formed. At 5 weeks of intrauterine life, right principal bronchus bronchial bud form right principal bronchus and left principal bronchus, which further divide to form upper, middle, and inferior lower bronchi of right lung, and inferior lower bronchi of left lung. And during the sixth week, during 6th week, they form the right principal bronchus. Right lobe, they differentiate into right upper lobe, right middle lobe, right inferior lobe, and left principal left upper lobe and left lower lobe. So now they during the 8th week they are fully differentiated. Now come to the maturation of the lung. Maturation of the lung is divided into 4 stages: pseudoglandular, glandular, canalicular, terminal, and alveolar. Pseudoglandular, canalicular, terminal sac stage, alveolar stage. Pseudoglandular stage, canalicular stage, terminal sac stage, alveolar stage. Pseudoglandular stage period 16 week. 5 to 16 week pseudoglandular stage. During this period, histologically, the appearance of the lung resembles a developing exocrine. Appearance of the lung resembles developing exocrine gland. The division of bronchi and reach up to terminal bronchiole, but respiratory elements that are involved in respiration are not formed. Hence, fetus born during this period cannot survive. Canalicular stage 16 to 26 feet. During this stage, lumens of terminal bronchiole dilate, and during this stage lumen of terminal bronchiole dilate, and there is further subdivision of terminal bronchiole into respiratory bronchiole. The respiratory bronchiole divide into alveolar duct. Few terminal sacs may also be formed at the end of respiratory bronchiole. Thus, the fetus born toward the end of this period may survive if given intensive care. The main thing that happens in this stage is that the lung tissue is well vascularized. The main thing that happens in this stage, the lung tissue is well vascularized. Okay, terminal sac at 26 week or to birth. During this period, a large number of terminal sacs develop. The capillary also proliferate and form a plexus around the terminal sac. The wall of the terminal sac become very thin and capillary bulge into the sac. This intimate contact between epithelium and endothelium establishes a blood-air barrier which permits the adequate exchange of gases for survival of fetus if born prematurely. Terminal sacs are mainly lined by endodermal squamous cell type 1 across type 1 alveolar epithelial cell, type 1 pneumocyte across which gases exchange take place. Scattered among the squamous epithelial cell type 1 pneumocyte, a few round type 2 alveolar epithelial cell type 2 pneumocyte are also present. Type 2 pneumocyte secrete surfactant. And their number gradually increased toward the full term. There is also an increase in number of lymphatic capillary. Okay, increase in lymphatic capillary. Alveolar stage 8 months to 8 year. In this stage, the terminal sac and respiratory bronchiole divide and form the alveolar duct. At the end of alveolar duct, the definitive true alveoli are formed. The formation of mature true alveoli continue even after birth till the age of about 8 years. The true alveoli that are formed have extremely thin wall and are lined by type 1 and type 2 pneumocyte. The type 2 pneumocyte produces sufficient amount of surfactant for survival. The capillary also proliferate and vascularize the newly formed alveoli. A number of alveoli reach the adult level by the 8th year. Notable point: the characteristic mature alveoli do not form until after birth. About 95% of mature alveoli develop after birth. Okay, look at the table: stages of maturation of the pseudoglandular stage, canalicular stage, terminal sac stage, alveolar stage. And the pseudoglandular stage, this table is important. Pseudoglandular stage, 5 to 16 week bronchial tree is formed up to terminal bronchiole. Element of the bronchial tree involved in the respiration. Example: respiratory bronchiole, alveolar duct, alveoli are not formed. Okay, respiration is not possible at this stage because only bronchial tree is formed up to terminal bronchiole. Only terminal bronchiole is formed at this stage. Canalicular stage, 16 to 26 week, respiratory bronchiole and alveolar duct are formed. A few alveolar sacs are also formed. Respiratory bronchiole, okay, alveolar duct and few alveolar sacs are formed. Lung tissue is well vascularized. Fetus born at the end of this stage can survive if given intensive care. Okay, terminal saccular stage, 26 week to birth. Large number of terminal sacs formed. Capillary bulge into developing sac. Intimate contact between the epithelium of sac and endothelium of capillary to permit the adequate exchange of gases for survival of fetus if born prematurely. Fetus born at this stage survive. Okay, only this is the stage at which fetus does not survive. Alveolar stage, 8 months to 8 years. Formation of definitive true alveoli with an increase in their number. Second pneumocide produce sufficient amount of surfactant. Free exchange of gases across the blood-air barrier formed by epithelium of alveoli and endothelium of capillaries. Okay, fetal breathing movement. Real-time ultrasonography have revealed that fetal breathing movement start before birth. And detected by real-time ultrasonography. They occur intermittently and exert sufficient force to cause aspiration of amniotic fluid in the lung. The fetal breathing movement are essential for the normal lung development. And increase the time of delivery as the time of delivery approach. Notable: before birth the fetus undergo breathing exercise for several months. At birth the lungs are approximately half filled with the fluid which are derived from amniotic fluid and tracheal gland. Aeration of lung at birth rapidly replaces the entire alveolar fluid by the air. This fluid from the lung is cleared by following three routes. Through the mouth and nose by pressure on the fetus thoracic wall, during vaginal delivery through pulmonary artery, vein and capillary through lymphatics. Three important factors are essential for normal lung development: adequate thoracic space to allow lung growth, fetal breathing movement, and adequate volume of amniotic fluid. Clinical correlation: medico-legal importance of the newborn lung. The lung of a newborn infant born alive always contains some air within it, hence they float in water, crepitate on pressure. The lung of a newborn infant born dead, stillborn, are firm and sink when placed in water because they contain fluid, not air. For this reason, it is firm and does not crepitate on pressure. This fact is the medico-legal importance because it tells whether the newborn infant was born alive or born dead. Stillborn respiratory distress syndrome. This clinical condition affects both 2% of live newborn infant, as the name suggests. Infant born with this condition develop rapid labor and breathing shortly after birth. This condition is common in premature infants. The most common cause of RDS is deficiency in surfactant. In this disease, alveoli of lung are often filled with a fluid having a high protein content, which resemble glassy hyaline membrane. Okay, hence RDS is also known as hyaline membrane disease. Hyaline membrane disease account for about 20% of death among the newborn. Death among newborn. Corticosteroid and thyroxine, which are involved in lung maturation and production of surfactant, may be used therapeutically. For therapeutic, we used corticosteroid and thyroxine. Congenital anomaly of the lung. Agenesis of the lung. It is a rare condition occur if one of the bronchial bud fail to develop. Agenesis of both the lung is still rare. Both the lung rare. Unilateral agenesis of the lung is compatible with life. Hypoplasia of lung. In this condition, lungs are small and underdeveloped. It usually occurs due to congenital diaphragmatic hernia, in which abdominal content herniated into thorax and the lung is unable to develop normally because it gets compressed by abdominal viscera. The lung hypoplasia is characterized by markedly reduced lung volume and hypertrophy of smooth muscle of pulmonary artery. Abnormal lobe of lung. In this condition, sometimes the right lung may consist of two lobes instead of three, or the left lung may consist of three lobes instead of two. These anomalies occur due to abnormal division of principal bronchi into lobar bronchi, and are associated with anomaly of lung fissure. These anomalies are not clinically significant. Azygous lobe of the lung. Lobe of Frisberg. It is a portion of upper lobe of the right lung that lie medial to arc of the azygous vein. The azygous vein lies in a floor of vertical fissure lined by pulmonary pleura. The azygous lobe is found in the right lung because azygous vein itself is on the right side. Azygous lobe is commonest accessory lobe of the lung. For details, okay. Ectopic lobe lung. They arise from trachea or esophagus. These lobes probably form additional respiratory buds of the trachea and foregut that develop independently of main respiratory system. Congenital polycystic lung. Multiple cysts are formed in the lung due to abnormal dilation. Multiple cysts formed due to abnormal dilatation of terminal bronchiole. These cysts are small and multiple, giving rise to honeycomb appearance, which can be seen in the radiographic. Honeycomb appearance is a radiographic finding because these cysts usually drain poorly, therefore they frequently cause chronic infection. For this reason, congenital polycystic lung is clinically most important. Look at the ectopic lung arising from trachea. Okay. Arising from the esophagus. Okay. This is ectopic lung condition. Azygous lobe of the lung. Okay. Abnormal lobe of the lung. These are the conditions. So I finished the topic. Now I'm signing out from the respiratory system, development of respiratory system.